All right. Hello, everybody. Everybody's doing well today. Thank you for tuning in today to our webinar, AI in Action, Predicting Trends, Modeling Growth, and Ensuring Brand Consistency. My name is Gregg. I'm Senior Vice President of Product Management at FADEL and work on the brand protection side of our business. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Johnny Habib, our licensing solutions expert and product manager for our licensing solutions. And we're excited to be here today with you to take you through what we're seeing as far as AI usage and how we're applying AI based on what our customers' needs are, so that you can get a sense of really where people are benefiting from the value of AI, plugging AI in today. I know we hear AI every day, hundreds of times, but how can you actually have practical impact on your business workflows today? Where can you look to implement AI in order to get an immediate benefit from it throughout your licensing workflow? And so that's what we got on tap for you today. I want to thank License Global for having us here today. Always a pleasure to work with the folks at License Global. So thank you for having us today. And let's get into it, shall we? Johnny, you want to say hi? Say hi to the folks, Johnny.
Yeah, hello everyone, and nice to be here today and looking forward to our exciting session.
Cool. Great to be here with you as always, Johnny. Always fun to work on these together. So thank you. Okay, let's get into it. Just who we are at FADEL, in case you're not familiar with us. For 20 years, we've been working with some of the world's largest brands on the licensing, marketing, and publishing sides of their businesses, and in multiple industries across multiple types of companies, as you can see here. Actually got my start in licensing at Marvel. That's how I met our CEO, Tarek Fadel, and came on board of working with licensing and helping others in publishing industry and mostly consumer goods merchandise licensing industries here. And you can see some of those big names here that we work with, big global brands. So we definitely get a good viewpoint of what are the challenges these brands are facing. And in some cases, they're specific to the industry or the brand. And in other cases, they're common across anybody doing licensing. And over time, we've also expanded to work with we started with working with licensors. We also do a lot of work now with licensees. So whether you're a licensor or a licensee, we have seen both sides of that coin, and we're going to give you insight from both perspectives today. So, and there's benefits on both sides by implementing AI on either side, actually. So it can benefit the whole collaborative workflow process throughout the licensing workflow. So that's who we are at FADEL. This is what we do at FADEL, or what we offer as far as our software, just so you get an idea of the experience that Johnny and I are coming from here today and bringing the perspective that we're bringing. We have our flagship product is really our IPM suite. That's our rights and royalty management system, enterprise class rights and royalty management. Again, being used at the largest consumer licensing brands in the world are using this to manage their rights and royalty process, which starts with the kind of deal memorandum process and creating a deal with a licensee, between licensor and licensee, and then capturing that deal data, royalty data, plugging in sales and calculating royalties and generating statements and forecasts and everything. That's really Johnny's side of the house. He's going to talk about how AI is plugging into that later. Then we have our licensee product, which is we took what we had done for licensors and flipped that on its head for licensees, so that licensees can actually use a similar platform, a little bit more streamlined platform to manage their licensing business. So whereas a licensor is managing 100 different royalty reports coming in from licensees, the licensee is generating 100 royalty reports out for multiple licensors in different formats. And so we do both sides of the coin there. And again, that gives us the ability to kind of see where the challenges are across the entire industry and across the commonalities across the workflows. So that's our licensee product. And then product approval is something fairly new that we launched earlier this year. And that is kind of a plug-in to the IPM suite that allows for licensors to manage the product approval process. And obviously, there's also a licensee component to that because licensees log into it to submit their product approvals, upload media to the licensor for approval around products. So that's our latest offering. It complements the other two offerings, and it's designed to manage that consumer merchandise licensing product approval process, or brand assurance. Some people call that brand assurance process. And so they all work together really, again, to manage the entire flow of the licensing life cycle from start to end. So from creating that deal between the licensor and the licensee, managing the specifics of that deal, the SKUs, the royalties, et cetera, from both sides, and then joining collaboratively through a product approval process to get those SKUs approved out to market and generating royalties. And that's kind of the closed loop system that we offer. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of interesting insights in this area because we work with these companies all the time. So we're going to share some of that with you today, but through the AI lens, right? And that's what we're here to talk about today. It's not something new that people are talking about. It's something we're talking about all the time now. But we're going to come at it from really, what are the practical things in the licensing workflow that we're actually doing today, and show you those things so that you can get an idea of where to look for value, where to look for opportunity for benefits to your organization and to your workflow to plug in AI. And obviously there's tons of different AI platforms out there. We use different ones we plug in. Some of it's proprietary, some of it's third party. I'm not going to tell you necessarily what to use. I'm going to show you the concepts of how to use it and how to use it through the process, and where we see bottlenecks that can, two aspects to this really, bottlenecks that can be unplugged through the use of AI, and then data that can be unlocked to provide insights and strategy for your business. Those are really the two angles we're going to come at it. I'm going to kind of come at it from the first one. Johnny's going to come at it from the second one. So I'm going to cover, start with contract ingestion. So this is an area where customers really struggle in getting data into a system, right? They know we have to systematize everything and automate the process, but it still starts with a very manual, discussion about a memorandum of understanding between us and between the two parties, and coming to an agreement and negotiating that agreement, and then it results in an actual legal, very complicated, usually legal contract. And then getting that contract into a system to automate and systematize is typically a bottleneck that we see. So it's one of the first places we looked to be able to plug in AI to do contract ingestion. So when you execute that contract, whether you're the licensee or the licensor, you can now use AI to take that contract and analyze it and ingest it into the system. And I'm going to look at it from a pure kind of data ingestion perspective. How do I get the terms of that agreement into my system to be able to operate on those terms systematically in my software? Johnny's later going to come back and say, okay, how can we use AI to analyze that contract deeper and give us business insights into that AVA intelligence into that contract. So how do we get further intelligence out of that contract? So while I'll be showing you like how do we get these data points into the system, Johnny will say, well, how do I understand what those data points are and what might be missing from that contract, or what the opportunities for that contract are, what rights I have, what gaps I have, things like that. Instantly be able to get intelligence about contracts. And then Johnny's going to also share with you the business insights, which is the ability to take the data sets from that contract, pair it with other data sets like royalty data, sales data, et cetera, business data, and get really cool AI insights out of it. So use AI, again, to analyze it, to give you answers, to help you strategize, to help you create KPIs, dashboards, things like that. It's really cool stuff. And then finally, I'm going to review the AVA Reviewer Agent, which is AI in our product approval system that we use as a frontline approver for products. So we all know that sometimes the process gets confused. You might have the wrong media uploaded with the wrong submission. You might have the wrong product category or the wrong property submitted for a SKU. And this takes time when people have to look at it and say, well, it's not right. You got the wrong product category on it, and send it back and resend it in. So one of the first places we wanted to streamline that process was to have AI do that first line review and say, hey, is everything here that I need? is the product right? Is the property right? Does the media match? And so I'm going to show you what we're doing on that front. So 4 different areas that we're going to show you today and highlight. And but it's not all going to be slideware. We are going to actually get into demo in just a second. Let me just show you kind of where the demo fits into that life cycle and that workflow. So you have kind of, for us, the center of everything is kind of your rights and royalty management. That's the heart of your licensing process, right? Is what are the licensing rights you're giving out? What are the royalties that are being generated? How are you managing all that? And so that's kind of the center of the universe here. And then you have, as I said, this legal document, this contract that comes in to that world. And how are you going to get it into that rights and royalty management system? From there, from your contract, your actual legal document, probably a PDF or Word doc or something like that. And how are you going to get that into your royalty system? So let me switch over and show you kind of what we're doing there on that front for ingestion. This is our I'm going to show you on our brand vision platform, which is really more of our marketing asset management and rights management for marketing that we have here. But this is a capability that we've integrated into all of our products. So whether you're doing the licensor agreements, whether you're a licensor ingesting licensee agreements, whether you're a licensee ingesting your licensor agreements, or whether you're ingesting talent releases or agreements related to your marketing content, we have this capability available. And we call our AI Ava. So I can always find my little Ava logo here, and I can toggle my Ava logo. Now this is a simulation I'm showing for demo purposes. So I'm going to simulate dropping 2 contracts into this and show you how it works. So I can take my simulator and say I want to drop in 2 contracts, and I want to have one of those contracts succeed and one fail. And now my simulator is going to simulate my drag and drop as if I dragged and dropped 2 contracts into here. And I can see that of those 2 contracts that I dropped in, one, as I specified in my simulation, one is successful and one has failed. And the reason it has failed is it's missing some data. It's missing a termination clause there. So one's valid and one requires review. So when it requires review, I can then come in and open up that more detail around that process in my ingestion screen here, and I can easily see the batches. And this can all be done in batch, because obviously you might be doing 50 contracts at once, 100 contracts, who knows, or just 1 or 2. In this case, I've got 2. I can see 1 succeeded. And so when it succeeded, the system had everything it needed to actually create that agreement in the system. And that agreement is now in the system and available for, royalty processing, rights clearance, analytics, reporting, et cetera. It's all there. I didn't have to type in anything. And I can review it if I want to make sure that it was okay, but no issues were detected here. So, and we've done a lot of testing on this. There's a very high success rate with the AI in terms of it being able to identify what it needs to, especially if your format is similar every time. Now, I should say it's not geared towards a specific format of contract. This can take any contract and analyze any format. Because it's AI, it will know what the terms are. And again, if it doesn't, then it will come back and say, okay, I didn't understand something, or I failed to find something in it. So in this case, it failed to find a few things. So I can look at what those are. I can identify those in the PDF contract here. And then I can say, why don't we retry this? And I'll tell you what it is. So I can say that the party name is Acme, and the agreement number is, because I think that's what it was missing. And then I can say confirm that and rerun it, and then it'll take the information that I'm feeding into it and it'll apply that to its run. And now I can see that it actually succeeded. So now I've got two contracts that have succeeded in being ingested into the system. Yeah, there we go. So that's how it works. And again, this is an incredible time saver for our customers. We've seen that, when you're doing manual data entry of the contract, it could take 10 minutes, it could take 20 minutes, it could take a half an hour, depending upon how complicated that contract is. Because first you have to analyze the contract and find all the data in it, right? And then you have to enter it manually into the system. Could have a high cost per document, also prone to the human error, right? So that you might make errors or type something in wrong. With AI powered, it's under seconds in some cases, as you saw there, to maybe for a very complex one, it might take a minute or 2 to go through it and analyze it all. So it brings your cost down drastically per document of the time and money you're spending to get this data into the system. And as I said, our testing shows, on average, a 90% accuracy rate for that. So while it's not immune to getting something wrong, there's a 90% accuracy rate for it. And as you saw, if it can't find something or doesn't understand something, it'll ask you to provide it with that answer. And typically there's usually a human review process of this as well. So you may choose to bring this data into the system in a draft status or an executed status, and then have a review before you push it to booked, before it starts creating financial transactions. For example, you might check the financials or something like that, but it's still going to be a lot less time than actually entering it. So you're shifting that resource, really shifting the resource right there as you go. So that's AI powered contract ingestion. Again, we're doing it in our system using a combination of tools. If you want more information about that, you can ask me after what we're doing, what we're using. It's a combination of different AIs that we use to do that, and we power it with our proprietary Ava brand of AI. But as I said, there's a lot of AIs out there. So that you can use all different AI tools to do this. The point I wanted to make is that this is a major bottleneck, and this is an area where you can get a lot of value out of applying AI to it. Okay, so that was the contract coming into the rights and royalty management. Now, once I've brought that contract into my system, and I have that data in the system, now I can do some other cool things with it. I can get contract intelligence out of it, so I can use AI to look at the full contract, because what I did in that demo was I just brought in the stuff I needed. I brought in the rights data. I might have brought in the royalty rates or things like that into the system specifically from that contract. But the contract itself has a lot more details in it, right? What has their right of first refusal? What happens if after 90 days this happens? But so the contract intelligence tool is important to be able to use AI to get those details out of a contract without having to dig through a legal contract. And then also the business insights. So I can take the data from that contract, match it with other data in the system like sales data, royalty data, rights data, et cetera, and get insights about where I should go with my business. Where do I have gaps? How should I license? What would happen? What ifs? What would happen if this happened or if that happened? So I'm going to turn it over to Johnny. This is Johnny's area of expertise. He's going to take you through the intelligence and the insights piece. So take it away, Johnny.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. So yeah, why do we believe that AI is a game changer in that space, specifically for many reasons? One of them is we've learned how much tasks such as extrapolating legal information or trying to find contract terms can be cumbersome, right? It's a cumbersome exercise if you're trying to do that through your legal agreement, through your PDF agreement, or even trying to search for a digital record in a system and trying to find the information that you are looking for. So that's why we have Ava Intelligence, which really sits on top of all that data. And then at any point in time, you can actually you just use natural language, just use plain text to find what you are looking for in the contract, whether it's a clause, whether it's a set of rights that you're trying to look at, whether you're trying to compare multiple agreements, amendments together and try to find what are your rights availability for a specific property or for specific category. All of that becomes available via Ava Intelligence and or via the AI tool, and then it will give you the answers just in a few seconds. Now, also, so can you go to the next slide also, Greg, please? So the second part of also the AI is really what you can do with the data, right? So Ava Intelligence sits on top of the system. You can use it as a co-pilot to navigate throughout the platform and try to find how you can use a specific feature, but also extrapolate contractual information and anything that you need from a legal agreement. So that's one. That the other side is building dashboards and being able to use that data for the reporting and in-depth data analysis. So what this means is that our Ava Business Insights can allow you to actually build dashboards using AI, just also, again, using natural language to create charts, create reports, create tables. And once you have all of that data created into the dashboards, now you can actually transform that data into insights, to analyze it, identify trends, generate forecasts, and also create analysis, like brainstorming analysis, without the need to create the legacy or the traditional Excel files and pivot tables and try to get that data and transform it in different ways. So, so having said that, let's just jump now into the demo so that I can show you how this actually works in the platform. So I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. So before I jump into the AI features, I just want to provide a quick intro about IPM Suite. So IPM Suite is an end-to-end solution for licensing in and licensing out. Whether you're a licensee or you're a licensor, you can actually use the solution to manage your contracts, manage your royalties, calculate your royalties, generate statements, create invoices, both inbound and outbound. So run accounting and create the accounting entry. So it's a complete solution to manage that entire life cycle of the intellectual property. Now, where does AI sit? So it really sits on top of that application, right? So while we have our internal dashboards to reflect certain data, we have our deal management to create contracts and manage contracts, royalties and participations to do the inbound and outbound royalty calculation and transactions, eventually to create the corresponding invoices and manage the invoicing aspect of it. So Ava sits on top of that and allows you to actually get information from the system really in a very quick manner, right? Rather than going and searching for a legal agreement or trying to find the digital record associated with it, you can actually just take a quick second to find the data that you're looking for. Like, for example, so can Quantum Creations, which is a licensee in this case, sell in the United States? So it's more like a availability question, right? Can I sell, can Quantum Creations sell in the United States? It's going to automatically give me an answer to that solution by parsing the agreement and telling me that, yes, Quantum Creations is actually listed to sell in the United States based on the agreements that they have in the system. Now, other scenarios would be, all right, so I want to know more about the agreement, like what is really the minimum guarantee that is committed under this agreement and how is it really structured, right? So now I'm digging more into the financial aspect of it. And then again, it's going to extrapolate these terms for you. You don't need to go to the deal. You don't need to go back to your notes or to your agreement. And it's going to get you that information that you'd be looking for. And as you can see in this agreement, I have 500K, multiple installments, the due date for each and every installment. And they are specifying also that this is a recoupable minimum guarantee. Now, if I want to do comparisons, right? So what if I want to compare against other contracts, right? To see if there are any types of overlapping licenses, I can also ask that. So now I'm not just looking at one agreement, but I'm also comparing against other agreements that exist in the system, which is very important, right? Imagine how much time this will take. So as you can see here in this one, I don't have really anything that is overlapping with this agreement, which is good because I'm not selling anything that is overlapping from a license perspective. So that's another use case. Now, another one would be like, okay, now I want to really see the data in different ways, right? So I want to understand my MG distribution. So, and I want to see it in a bar chart, in a pie chart. So I can actually get that from the system. So again, the idea is just to show you with different use cases how AI can handle things differently and how you can actually get that information from the system by using natural language without the need to look into the agreement itself. So as you can see here, I was able to get a chart that's telling me, how my MGs are really distributed in the platform across the board. So that's one side of what Ava Intelligence can do. Now, let's talk about analytics, right? And what you can actually do now with analytics. So now I have my data in the system. I have Ava that can answer my questions and everything that I'm looking for. Next is really to use AI for analytics, right? So, and then I can actually use AI to create dashboards in the platform. I can create one or multiple dashboards based on what's my role in the organization, right? So It can be really more a contracts database dashboard, can be like a forecast dashboard, can be more like sales and royalties performance dashboard. So you can create as many dashboards as you want into the platform. For example, that's one if you want flavor of what the dashboards can look like to track my royalties, my revenue, my active licenses, my brand contribution, my trends. How am I doing geographically? I can actually drill down to see where my net sales are in the region. It's all like, whenever I'm building these dashboards, I can also use AI to just say, give me a pie chart that shows me this, give me a bar chart that shows me that, right? You can do all of that also using AI, not just like any traditional business intelligence tool. And you can also create pie charts, license health tools, to check your violations, your remaining MG, and so on. Now, the important part of that is not really the just being able to build the dashboards, right? So there are multiple tools that can actually do that. But the power of this is what AI can actually do with this data, right? So if I'm a stakeholder, I'm an executive, I want to take a quick look at the dashboard. I don't want to really go into the details. I can just click on executive summary, and what AI will do is it will read all of that information. It will give me the high-level view of what's happening on this dashboard, right? So as you can see, I'm going to get a comprehensive overview of what's going on that dashboard. The actual royalties consistently exceeded forecast. What are the categories that are top royalty generating, and so and so. So you'll be able to get that executive summary. More importantly, you can also transform dashboards into stories, right? So if you want to prepare a presentation that is taking all of that information and interpreting it and putting it into a presentation, usually that's more likely a manual process. But with AI, you can actually transform that data into a clean presentation that can be shared with stakeholders, right? So all you need to do is click on story, describe what you want in that story, add the visuals, which are really the dashboards that you want to include in that story, and click on build. The moment you do it, you'll have a presentation generated, and this presentation will look like this. You can also pick what the format's going to look like, the style of the presentation if you want. And the presentation will actually give you a full introduction, interpretation of each and every chart into text, everything, and a full analysis of the dashboards that you have, all by just a click of a button. And usually that's also another cumbersome process that analysts would need to do in order to prepare such a presentation. You can always use AI again to make it longer, make it shorter, change it to bullets, and also you can manually modify these types of presentations, and you can share it and preview it and publish it the moment that presentation is final and ready to be shared with the stakeholders. So that's that. And now more importantly also is, okay, now I have my story, I have my dashboard, I have my executive summaries, all using AI. But the other advantage that AI gives us is really the different analysis that we have in the platform, different what we call also scenarios in data to insights. But before I go there, also I want to show the different flavor of what the tool can do, because again, AI can be used in order to create forecasting dashboards, and we know that in the licensing space, this is very important. You can create net profit trends, you can create net sales per quarter, compare against historical average. And where AI also come into play is that you can actually add a forecast on top of your charts, where the system will actually use historical data and use seasonality and other parameters in order to actually create a prediction for the future. And it's using AI to actually create these different charts and different predictions from the platform. Now let's jump to what the scenarios actually look like. So if I go to the scenarios, the different scenarios that I have created. So I'm going to actually go through two different examples here. the first example is the licensing performance analysis, right? So now I have my data in the system. I want to actually run extra analysis on that data and see, run different types of things so that I can analyze it. I can get more insights on things that I have, in the application. And usually that's another process that can take a lot of time. Like, for example, which licensees are likely to become underperforming in 2026, right? So if as an analyst, I want to run this exercise, probably I have to export all the royalty information from the system, check the trend of the royalties that have been reported by each and every licensee, compare it to how they are recouping against the minimum guarantee on a quarterly basis, see how they are trending, and calculate whether they'd be able to actually recoup it on time based on historical data. So that's an exercise that can take several hours and maybe a few days even to get it done across the board, right? But while using AI, all I need to do is just use plain English to actually ask that question, and now I can get all of that information from here, right? So if I scroll down to the bottom of the analysis, I'm going to see that the system started to assigning risk scores for each and every licensee that I have in the platform. With I'll have like more data provided, a lot of analysis being done by the AI, and it's telling me that who is likely to underperform. So I have number one, Nimbus Trading, with the highest score risk because they have significant sales decline in the latest quarters. They have lowest forecast accuracy, declining forecast accuracy trend. So it's using all the data from the system, all the actual sales, the royalties, the forecast, the trends, to come to that conclusion that Nimbus Trading is the highest score, that they're not going to be able to perform well. Same applies for Iron Peak, Bluecrest. They might be for different reasons, right? And all these reasons will be listed. Like, for example, this one has missing data, so they didn't even submit a royalty statement for Q4. So you'll get all that detailed explanation from the system using AI. Now, another thing that is also important is that, okay, well, which minimum guarantees will not recoup based on the royalties process so far, and when? So that's another type of exercise that can take a lot of time to actually be done, and easily it can be done using AI while parsing the data, crawling the data in our system, and getting to that information. Which licensees or licenses should we audit first for maximum ROI? That's another exercise also. Which licenses should we renew, renegotiate, or exit? Again, you'll get all the information from here, and also the tool will be suggesting to you what are the licenses that you have to look into, right? You don't need to think about it a lot. So, and now I have a full analysis that tells me I need to renew on Orion Vale, right? Nimbus Trading, what are the reasons? Because they are top performers in multiple categories. I need to renegotiate due to high royalty rates, 5 licenses. I need to renegotiate due to forecasting issues, 2 licenses, and then I need to exit 2 licenses with LumaWorks and NovaBear because they are doing a lot of violations. They are not really performing well in general. So that's what are really the benefits behind the tool and the different use cases where AI can actually add a lot of value when it comes to transforming your data to more insights. Again, prediction is key also. What happens if I increase my royalty rate by 1%? What happens if I decrease my royalty rate? So you can do all of these what-if scenarios also using AI from the platform. Definitely feel free, if you have any questions, to shoot them out at the end, and we'll be more than happy to answer questions around that. And Greg, I'll stop sharing now and hand it over back to you.
All right, Johnny. Thank you so much. Yeah, super cool stuff. I mean, we should point out, I mean, a lot of those scenarios were kind of coming from the licensor viewpoint, but, equally valuable to a licensee, right? Which might be questions like, which license should I go for, right? Which license is going to be better for my business? Which licensor should I look at, right? How am I going to, what's my forecast that I'm going to be reporting on royalties? And so definitely not, limited to a licensor side, right? Licensee side as well for that. And I assume from a FADEL perspective, that plugs into both the licensor and the licensee product, right?
Yes, absolutely, Greg. It applies to both flows, inbound or outbound. You can actually do the same exercise for both flows.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the demo. It's super, super, super cool. And I mean, you can already see, the benefit of when you put the two things together that I showed and that you showed, being able to, in an instant, bring that data into the system, bring those, as those contracts come into your business, bring them into the system, and then be able to use the tool to instantly get analysis out of it, right? Just right away. Whereas in the past, that would have taken some time to complete that cycle, get the data in, people asking you questions, and yeah, I'll get it in this week and we'll get you a report by the end of the week. Or now it's really instantaneous, right? And going beyond kind of just the data part of it, that last bit you showed with really like using it as a member of your team, right? To answer questions and make suggestions, just like somebody would in a licensing team meeting, right? Like, okay, any ideas for where we should expand, right? Now you have, and you're still going to need that, right? I don't want to downplay. I'm not one of those people that thinks AI is going to replace humans, because nothing can replace the greatness of human beings, but it can help, and it might come up with ideas that you didn't think of, or it might be able to look at a level of granularity and detail or mathematics or economics that you couldn't get to, and be able to suggest something that you didn't think of, and then you can of course turn it into greatness from there. But super cool demo, and I'm glad to see that the good old pie chart is going to live through AI and live on. That's very exciting to me. So thank you, Johnny, for that demo.
Who doesn't need a pie chart, right?
Yeah, the world's always going to need pie charts, so that's good. It's something very comforting about that. All right. So we've seen the contract coming into the rights and royalty management. We've seen the contract, then the contract data, getting the intelligence out of it for specific contracts, and then the business insights across the entire organization, and how powerful that is. The last AI example I want to share with you is related to the product approval that I talked about earlier. So, part of the engine of the licensing engine is, as you do those contracts and you engage, then there's the product aspect, and which results in the actual approved SKUs that go out to market and get sold at the stores, and generate those royalties that come back into the system and drive all those insights. And that process in itself is a whole complicated process, typically around the product approval, but it's a very interesting collaborative process between licensors and licensees. And as I said, it's a new area for us this year, launching into that and trying to help. We're starting on the licensor side. We're looking at how it can also benefit licensees as well, and how we can help automate and streamline that process. And when we thought about plugging AI into that process, we thought that where it made the most sense just right off the bat was to say, hey, let's have AI check if a submission is ready for human review. Because if it's not even ready for human review, then you're wasting someone's time by having to look at it and go, hey, you attached the wrong file, or you chose the wrong contract, or you chose the wrong property. And that does happen all the time, because the volume here is incredible on the product approval side, a huge volume of stuff. So mistakes do happen. So having a frontline reviewer that's automated, that can prevent having to waste a person's time in looking at that, was where we decided to apply the AI in product approval. So it's pretty cool. Let me show you what it looks like. This is our product approval tool. So let me just log in here 1 second. So this is our product approval system, and as you can see, I'm logging in from a licensee perspective now. I'm logging in, and I'm going to submit. I'm from Cool Goods, and I'm going to submit my new product into my licensor here through this system. So I can come in and I can create a new submission here, and it has all my contract information in it. So again, it ties back to the whole process we've been looking at, because this is a contract number that has been brought into the system, and the data from that contract has been captured into the system. So I can see that I have the rights to Captain Fabulous, which is my fictitious property here. Let me make it make it specifically Captain Fabulous, not all, just Captain Fabulous. Oh. if I did it right, there we go. Captain Fabulous, and I have the rights to skateboards. So this is going to be a skateboard submission for Captain Fabulous, and I can put in other data around this. That's not really the point of the demo. I want to show the AI, but I wanted to create a fresh submission so you get a sense of how I actually choose that information. Now, you saw in checking the boxes there, I chose the wrong thing several times before I got it right. So it does happen. And if I have a complicated agreement with multiple properties and multiple product types, there is a chance I might be mixing things up and putting the wrong thing on there. So when I go to upload my media, I can upload my media that goes with this submission for the license order review. I do have my skateboard with Captain Fabulous, but I'm also going to upload a couple of other things, a bag and a different skateboard. I'm going to upload a couple different images so you can see how the AI is used here to look at this and assess the readiness of the submission. So my files have been uploaded. They take a moment to process and set up the thumbnail there for my submission. Let's make it the actual right thumbnail so that we can see that it's Captain Fabulous Skateboard is what we're trying to submit there. And now when I submit this, what Ava, our AI, is going to do is Ava's going to review all the media and the details on the submission. So it's going to look at the details here. It's going to look at the media that's uploaded, and it's going to assess whether it's ready to be reviewed. So am I ready? I'm ready, but is it ready? Ava's going to determine that. So Ava's going to look at that. Ava's doing the submission validation now. And I will be notified once that completes. It should complete in a second here. And as expected in my demo, good, it worked. The validation failed. So I have a property mismatch and I have a product type mismatch here. And if I view that feedback, I can view that and it'll give me details about that. So I can see here that on that Spider-Man skateboard that I uploaded, it says one or more of the properties did not match. The image shows Spider-Man. It doesn't show Captain Fabulous. And that's the AI knows what Spider-Man looks like, and it knows what Captain Fabulous looks like. So it knows that that's not the right product. And if I look at the other one, it knows what a bag is and it knows what a skateboard is, right? So it's basically can look at this and say, this does not contain a skateboard. It shows a person with a tote bag with Captain Fabulous on it. So it's the wrong product type. And then that automatically gets kicked back to the licensee, cannot be submitted until either it's acknowledged. So I can override it and say, well, as discussed, this is the bag that goes with the skateboard. Maybe there's a reason for that. Or I can just delete this file, say it was the wrong file, and I can delete that. But I have to address it in some way in order to be able to proceed with this. So if I were to delete my Spider-Man one, and then now I've passed, because all my things have been taken care of. I removed the bad media, and now I can submit it, and it'll get submitted in, and I've passed approval, and it was submitted for approval, and now you can see that it's pending approval. So again, I just by using AI there, I just saved somebody the trouble of having to look at this, see that they uploaded the wrong images, correct them, see that the product type might have been wrong too. Maybe it was actually meant to be a bag, not a skateboard. So it prevents me from having to waste my time on a submission that I can't actually approve, right? And so again, just looking at ways where AI can be applied. And the theme you'll notice in the two demos that I showed was there are places where normally a human would have to get involved very early on in the life cycle. And we're taking AI to delay the time in which the person needs to get involved so that they can be moving faster on everything, right? So I think that might be a good way to look at it, is shifting AI to the left, shift left the AI, so that the person can shift right and focus on the real hard work rather than the stuff that's on the left of the workflow process. So AI shift left is my new favorite saying. So shift the AI left up to the front of the process and save yourself time. So that was the demo I had prepared, just capping on that. Again, I think I just said all this. It reduces that approval cycle time. It could be from days to minutes, right? Because it might take you a day to get to that and review it, whereas now it's instantly reviewed and kicked back if there's a problem with it. You still have to do the review if it's right. It'll go through and you'll still have to do the approval. Although we are actually looking at expanding this to have AI shift right further, right? Shift to the right and do more of it, like look at design styles, look at style guide usage, make sure that the product is actually well designed, make suggestions on how to make it better. You know, the possibilities are endless, obviously. We also, I didn't show it today, we also do have content moderation in this part of the AI review, which means you can set it to check for things like profanity, or substance usage or violence, those types of content moderation. So if you get an image that is violent or has profanity or substances or something like that, you can immediately have AI reject it and say, no, I don't, you know, I won't accept this because it has things in the content that we can't have in our content. So super powerful stuff there, and you know, very exciting from a software developer perspective, very exciting stuff to be working on. So just the key takeaways from today, I think, you know, it all starts with your business. So AI is only going to be able to work well when you have a good grasp on your business and the data. When we talk about software specifically, the data that you're managing and the life cycle around that data. So it helps to first understand your life cycle very well and where the data in that licensing life cycle is originating. You know, where it goes to, who touches it, what needs to be done with it, where it ends up, and having a good sense of the entire licensing workflow as it relates to a piece of data like contract data or royalty data or product data. And then you can apply AI to it at the strategic points where you feel like it can bring value in that centralized foundation that you've created. So, and you want to have a clear business goal. So it doesn't work as well to say, AI, I want AI to make everything better, right? No, I want to shave off some time that my folks are spending typing contracts into the system, or they're spending a lot of time rejecting products that have errors on them, or it's taking too long to generate dashboards and KPIs so that we can make strategic decisions. We need to do that faster. So specific business goals that result in specific AI implementation to solve those business goals is going to be more successful. Also, combining multiple AI capabilities. So yeah, I always say there's there's no silver bullet for AI. There's no one AI that's going to do everything. There's so many different AI capabilities and tools and systems out there now, and they all do different things well. So part of what we do at FADEL is to try and do that investigation for our customers to determine what to use where and when. And that's what has allowed us to do everything you saw today. There's probably 8 to 10 different AI technologies blended in throughout the different tools that we're using. And that's from, you know, Anthropic to ChatGPT, Gemini, you know, a bunch of different stuff that goes into that, the AI stuff that we're doing, and some proprietary as well that we've built ourselves. So there's no one AI. So make sure you understand which AI to use for what you're trying to do, and partner with technology companies that actually have already done that work for you, right? That know what is the best to do. Like, for example, we found that Claude worked very well on the contract analysis, the contract ingestion piece, right? There's folks out there working with this stuff, and they already know the answers and can save you time from having to figure out what to use. As with any enterprise technology, integration and orchestration is critical. So again, having that micro view of what's the business goal I'm trying to accomplish, but also having that macro view of what's my entire ecosystem and where do I need to plug in and who are the constituents that need access to this data or this tool throughout it, and designing your solutions around that enterprise scale, even if you're small, because if you're small today and you do this the right way, then you'll be big tomorrow, and then you will have a big enterprise. So so it's always, you know, for us, it's always about finding the right technology for the job and the right partner. Really important. We're really all about partnerships at FADEL and working with our customers very closely. And there's a lot of good technology companies out there that are like that. So make sure you choose a partner that you know, is going to be right there with you, working to make your business better. And okay, so I think we have some time for questions. We've got about 5 or 10 minutes for questions. So hopefully we've gotten some questions from the audience. Let me see what we got. Questions. Here's my question tab. Okay, let's see. Just looking at my questions. A lot of questions. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to start here. Does contract ingestion take into account each company's specific configured system values and rights dimensions /trees? Well, as I said in the demo, the contract ingestion that we're doing is not pegged to a specific format. So the AI can look at any format and try to discern from it what's in the format. And so it's not specifically configured to a specific rights tree or hierarchy for that. However, it does also accept custom instructions. So typically what we'll do for a customer is be able to tailor it, I'll say, to that customer. So they might have certain terms that the AI doesn't know yet, like what they call a certain thing. Like they might have a certain product that they call a soft good, but it's not, you know, traditionally a soft good, or it's specific to their business. And you can teach the AI that and say, okay, this thing equals, you know, this squishy ball equals a soft good for us. And then it'll take that into account. So it doesn't get really pre-configured to that, but it gets as far as it can get, and then you may have to give it custom instructions, which you can do on which we do on a customer by customer basis. What can Ava run and generate broad avails? Example, what are my availabilities in Europe or apparel? I think you showed some of that, Johnny, but is there anything you can add to kind of build on that question?
Yeah, absolutely. Because Ava actually sits on top of the entire set of contracts and the entire set of rights hierarchies. So if you are looking for a specific category in a specific country, it can actually pull that information for you, and it will tell you in details like what are mainly the contracts that are really behind that rights combination that you are that you have or you're actually looking for. So yeah, Ava can actually give you a full view of rights availability.
Cool. Lots of great questions here. Let me keep going. Did that one. How does FADEL handle licensing that prohibits any further use of AI content generation? How can this licensing intelligence travel with the asset in node-based creative workflows? Not sure I fully understand the question, but one thing we are doing on the brand vision side when we track marketing assets is we're tracking whether an asset has AI applied to it. So whether it was generated with AI or whether it's been edited with AI. This is obviously an area of, you know, it's a little bit of the unknown, but there's a lot of potential liability there that people are worried about stumbling into. So we do get this question a lot, which is, you know, can I track if I'm doing marketing assets for my products, packaging, et cetera, things like that? Can I track if it's been generated with AI? And we do that through our brand vision platform, which is our brand protection platform, as we track that and keep that as a record tied to your assets in your digital asset system. So it's not, we didn't show any demo around that today. If you're interested in learning more about that, definitely click on the info icon on the top right. You can download all of our product information from the little info bubble up there, and you can reach out to us for a one-on-one discussion for sure on any topic. So we do a lot of that brand protection in our brand vision platform and extend the metadata around marketing assets to capture a lot of different stuff like that. And AI is one of the things about them. So okay, let's see. Got that one. Can it confirm if certain IP has been used on the design, for example, image of an athlete? Yeah, I assume you're talking about the product approval, the last thing I showed there. It can do that, and that's what it's doing when it's detecting Captain Fabulous. So if I actually did say that this is a Shaquille O'Neal basketball, the AI would know if it's a celebrity. The AI can determine who that is or not, so it can absolutely determine that. And we do a lot of work actually in some of our other products with image detection and celebrity identification. We have a product called Star Tracker that tracks public images of stars and celebrities. So we have a lot of experience with that as well. So if you want more information on that, you can. But as far as what I showed today, it will absolutely check it against the rights if the rights are for an image of an athlete or a celebrity or something like that. Okay, what else? I guess that's it for questions. That's all I see. Oh, there's one more came in. Oh, a couple more coming in now. Thank you. Yeah, we still have about 5 minutes, so that's cool. If you have a question, get it in now. What separates your brand vision platform and AI capabilities from your competitors? Oh, good question. Well, I think one thing that separates it is that we are looking to plug it in wherever we can. So it's in, you won't find at this point a product at FADEL that doesn't have some AI capabilities. So we're really trying to make sure that no matter what angle of the business you're coming at it from, for our technology, you will find an AI benefit and value in that product. So it's not one thing we're offering. It's how can we take every product we have and begin to expand the AI capabilities and do that. I will say also that we do some proprietary AI that our competition doesn't do. Which is, and by the way, on the product approval side, I haven't seen any competitors doing AI in product approvals yet. So I think that's something fairly new. But we also, as I mentioned, the content tracking that we do and brand vision, we do content tracking on websites and social media of your marketing assets. And we have a very proprietary AI that we've built for that, which does content tracking, image matching to find your marketing content on your websites, on your social media, on your retailer sites, in order to prevent and protect you from liabilities around content expiration or misuse. So I'd say that's a big differentiator for us. Can the system integrate with ERPs? Absolutely. We come from an ERP background at FADEL. I'll turn it over to Johnny to talk specifically about that, because that's more on the IPM side and the royalties, but it has very powerful integration with ERPs. Johnny, you want to talk about who we integrate with, what we integrate with, and what we do when we integrate?
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. Mainly, we have integrations with most of the existing ERPs today, Microsoft, Oracle Fusion, Oracle Business Suite, SAP. So most of the common ones we have integrations with. And mainly, the integrations cover a wide variety of master data, whether it's inbound or even outbound. So we do connect to bring in master data, such as customer, supplier information, currencies, exchange rates, rights, products, and so on. And then we have also on the outbound side, we connect to the financials, such as general ledger, AR, AP. We also push information to these modules in order to create the corresponding invoices and also to push accounting into the platform. So we have a wide variety of inbound, outbound interfaces that we use in order to connect to external systems, not just ERPs, also it can be master data management tools that are out there.
Cool. Thanks, Johnny. I think we have time for one more question. Let me see if we have one. I think we have one more here that I missed. Will the AI initial product submission review send an auto message back to the licensee with the failed details? Yes. So you might have seen in the demo, a notification came up on the system, and I was logged in as the licensee. So they get a notification in the system that says, you failed, and here's the details. They also will get an email with that as well into their email box, assuming they haven't opted out. You can always opt out of the email inbox. Most people want to get the email. So it's got email communication and in-system notifications. And that happens in the background. So if you do a submission and it takes a few minutes or so to review it, maybe you have a lot more media than I uploaded today. You can move on to do other stuff, and you'll get that submission. That notification will come into your inbox, both in the system and in your email inbox. All right. Well, I think that's all we have time for today, but thank you. Those were great questions. Thank you so much. Again, thanks to License Global for having us today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Johnny, for joining me today. Always a pleasure to work with you. And again, if you click the info button on the upper right-hand side of your screen, you will, I think that's where it is on your screen, the little I button in the circle. You can download information about FADEL, and you can reach out to us at solutions@FADEL, and we'd love to talk to you or take additional questions or do further demos or schedule a one-on-one with you. So thanks everybody for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Thank you.